Oh.
2-3 months.
No, I got.
I'd like to call to order the Board of Directors meeting for December 9th. Roll call.
Dale Olson,
Here.
Kurt Offenbacher,
Here.
Patty Chapel,
Here.
Brian Parker,
Here.
Charles Kimball,
Here.
And staff.
Kyle Rosen.
Wendy McKay,
Mark Kramer.
Jason Rice. Doug Curry. Bob Roder.
Yeah, who's there?
So we had Chad, Sarah, and Mitch.
Hello.
Yeah.
Laura.
Hope you're feeling okay.
Thank
I'm
you.
gonna give her my stuff. I don't know.
That's very nice. When did you sanitize the boardroom?
Any changes to the timeline?
Well, the only thing is we did switch the public session to be at the front of the meeting, and then we'll go to the exec session after we introduce it. We felt like that would be more logical as we introduce all concepts here.
Short mountain.
All right. Well, thank you for getting together with us here for a special meeting. I promise I am a week into this cold, so I'm not contagious at all. I feel fine. Just getting all of this out of me. It sounds a little different, but I'm fine. Background, let's talk about Short Mountain. Obviously, this has been a long journey. We wanted to get some of this on the public record, though. The last time we talked about this in public might have been all the way back in March. You can believe it. I know we've had some executive sessions, but for anybody that might be listening, or in terms of creating a record, we wanted to have some of this at least out there in public. So, EPA's operated landfill gas out there now for over 35 plus years. Jason Rice, how many years were you out there? 20?
I was out there, 18.
Long project, a lot of pride in this, and it's really been a great thing for our customers. Reliable, renewable electricity, and we have a really proud story of operating out there. We have seen our engines reach end of life though, and we're kind of at a crossroads, or at least have been over the last couple of years, about do we make a very substantial reinvestment at the plant, or do we go a different direction? So that's kind of been the decision for the board over the last couple of years. We've seen regulatory pressures really pick up, whether that's through LRAPA or federal government or other bodies out there, and uncertain fuel supply. We've seen the waste stream that we rely on called into question on multiple occasions here. At the same time, we've seen new markets for developing renewable natural gas. This is really in the last 5 to 10 years picked up as part of the federal renewable fuel standard. And electricity generation, I think it's safe to say, is no longer the highest and best used of EPA's gas runs out there. So that's kind of where we're at today. Wanted to do a quick timeline on how we got to this point. So if you go back to 2022 and early 23, the board first started having this conversation kind of when I first came into the job. And initially, if you remember, the rebuild of the plant was kind of our plan. We were going to go out and completely redo everything. We thought that made the most sense at the time. Power markets were sky high and we needed electricity. But it soon became clear that continuing to run the plant would be non-economic for a number of reasons, even if we were to rebuild the engines. And so in a strategic planning meeting on August 2024, the board directed staff to pursue a renewable natural gas project, also known as RNG. After that, the board passed Resolution 2024-27, which authorized the permanent decommissioning of the Short Mountain Power Plant. This was key in allowing us to petition Bonneville for Tier 1 replacement power, which they subsequently granted us and have provided that replacement power starting in October of 2027 is when that begins. October of 2028, like I said. So late 2024, early 2025, then after having the direction from the board, we ran a request for proposals process. And we had 5 participants that bid for a partnership. And Wagon Energy was the clear choice, on almost every account, every score. We recommended to the board that we move forward with them. We had Wagon in here to present in March of 2025. That might have been the last official agenda item we had on this topic in public, was when Wagon was here. If you remember, it was Chris and his French counterpart. And so they gave us a great presentation. We felt very comfortable with them. And so since that time, really, it's from April till now, we've had our attorneys involved, and Rob and I from EPUD primarily have been involved in direct negotiations, not just with WAGA, but we brought Lane County into this. It became clear pretty early that Lane County needed to be a part of this negotiation. Our tie-in with them through the existing contract is such that we can't go and do this ourselves. And so we turned this into a three-party negotiation and have come up with a set of contracts to make this all happen. So any questions at this point? Right, should be reviewed.
Really good explanation.
All right, thank you. The general project structure. So let's get this on the record. So here's what's going to happen. WAGA will install, own, and operate a new RNG facility at Short Mountain. That's a multi-tens of millions of dollars investment they'll be making here in Lane County. They will share proceeds from selling the renewable natural gas via a royalty to both EPUD and Lane County. EPUD will decommission the current power plant by December 31st, 2027. So we'll have about 2 years to make this happen. We do have contingencies if we don't exactly get the RNG plant online by that date, but we do have a hard deadline to stop our power generation by then. EPUD will secure replacement power from BPA. We've done that. Be able to buy at a tier 1 rate. EPUD will be compensated for that replacement power from the RNG royalty. This was a key principle as we negotiated that we wanted to hold our customers harmless from no longer having that power supply. And so the first part of the royalty will go to cover EPUD's replacement power cost. EPUD and the county will then evenly split any remaining royalty. And that arrangement will last for 15 years from the commercial operation date. So that's key. It's not 15 years from December 31st, 2027. It's 15 years from whenever this plant happens to come online. So if there's a lag between those two, we still get a full 15 years worth of royalty. And 60%. No, it'll be the same formula we get. It'll be our power cost covered first. We get replacement power up top, and then it's 50-50 after that.
Well, I mean, the 15 years starts when that plant produces 60%.
That's right. Yeah, good point. Yeah, I thought you were talking about the royalty, but yes, yeah, that's when it's deemed viable. Yeah. Okay. The way we're going to implement this is through a set of transaction documents. Chad didn't feel like one was enough, so we came up with 5 to make this this complicated. No, this was.
Didn't fall asleep in school.
It became clear why we had to do this.
By the word.
So here they are. Chad will go into more detail about these, but the first one is it's called a tri-party consent agreement. This is the basic outline where all 3 parties say, hey, we're going to do this project. Here's the basic terms we all agree to. And essential here is that by entering this agreement, all 3 parties agree to everything else in the other ones. So you can't come back and say, well, I wasn't part of this one. This is basically saying we're all doing this project. We all agree to everything. Number 2 is the assignment and assumption agreement. This is an agreement between EPUD and WAGA, assigning our gas rights over to them. So we have gas rights right now through 2042, and we're, as part of this transaction, going to be assigning those to WAGA. Number 3 is an amended and restated landfill gas agreement. This is between WAGA and the county that kind of modernizes and I think makes a little more applicable the new arrangement that's going to be between those two. EPUD and WAGA's current agreement, or excuse me, EPUD and the county's current agreement is really based on electrical generation. This is going to be more focused on what they're doing with renewable natural gas. Key to this also, EPUD is a third-party beneficiary in this agreement, so we do have rights as part of this, and Chad can give you some more color on that. Number 4, an interim operating agreement. This is between EPUD and WAGA. It outlines how we're going to operate prior to no problem. All right.
Yeah, scared me too.
Okay. Interim operating agreement between EPUD and WAGA. There's going to be a 2-year period here between when we sign these agreements and when the new plant comes online, at least 2 years. And so we need to have some guidelines to how things are going to operate out there. We're still gonna be on the ground, but you know, WAG is gonna have some involvement, some say in how that all works. And then number 5 is the royalty agreement. This is between the 3 parties, and it just outlines how the RNG project royalties will be split. Talks about our power replacement cost being the first bite at the apple, and then how things will play out from there. So those are the 5 that are in front of you, and hopefully you've had a chance to review at least a little bit. I'm almost done here for my portion. I wanted to just, again, for the record, talk about the project benefits to EPUD. First of all, this protects our customers from a very non-economic reinvestment in the plants out there. You know, we could go out and purchase engines and, you know, put up a new building and do the whole 9 yards. It's a very expensive investment, $20+ million. And it was, you know, at a time, or is at a time, when we know the fuel supply is very uncertain. And so the potential there for us to make that kind of investment and not have gas to be able to generate with is very concerning. We're able to avoid that with this new project. It also eliminates dependence on our current partner out there for power supply needs. That's been an issue now for some time. Is we want to generate as much power as we can, and we don't have full control over the fuel supply out there. So we get away from that here. It also eliminates operational risks. I mentioned the increased regulation. That's probably not going to get better or easier. We're also subject to equipment failures, you know, not just our engines, but pipes and other wells and things out there that can break, and we're not going to have to worry about that. It does reimburse EPUD for our power replacement costs. So again, that was a key principle in this whole thing. Allows us to focus more, and this is probably my favorite, on our core business. We've been really good at operating that plant over the years. But increasingly, you know, having our own generation plant is not really aligned with delivering reliable, low-cost electricity to our customers, being a distribution utility. And so we had to make a hard decision. And I think, you know, if you look at what is most important to our mission, that started to fall outside of that scope. So this project kind of gets us a little more on target. Now, project risks to EPUD, want to be upfront about these. There's a lengthy permitting process to site the facility and the associated pipeline. This pipeline has to go under I-5. It has to go another, you know, 1 point some miles, almost 2 miles. We have confidence we can do that. We've got a great partner, but that's not easy. We're going to have to work through that. We have a private partner in WAGA that is subject to competitive markets and credit risks. Can't get around that. We've tried to, you know, choose somebody that we have a lot of confidence in, but you never know. Even things like, you know, the tariffs have been, I think, impactful of their business. And so we're taking that on by working with a private partner. Reliance on environmental attributes. So this economic incentive that we're working with here is a creation of a federal program. And at some point, those winds could shift. I think it's unlikely given the politics of the whole thing, but that's something that, you know, we're going to have to live with the next 15 years as we're kind of relying on a federal program. There's foregone future benefits. So we are selling our landfill gas rights. You never know if you're selling it for the absolute, you know, highest value or not. We think this is, you know, about as good as we could have done. But there's always the chance those markets can change, and we would regret giving that up at some point. I think that is my list of both benefits and risks. We've got some more just to kind of work through an exec session, but any questions we want to go through here in public before we do that? Chad, did you have anything you wanted to add in public?
He left.
Oh, you left.
Nope.
Okay.
I'm here. Hey,
All right.
Kyle. I thought that was a great summary. I don't have anything to add.
Okay.
And I appreciate that it was broke out in 5 different segments.
Good.
And I realize that's more stuff, but that was good.
Yeah, I think it was necessary when you
Yeah.
really dig into it. It would have
Yeah.
been nasty otherwise. So.
I looked, yeah.
Anything from the back row? Oh, okay. Well, I think we're clear. So we're going to go to exec session to talk about some things that are still kind of under negotiation, but we will plan to have this on the agenda for next week at the regular board meeting. So if anybody from the public is listening, this will be, you know, these 5 contracts will be voted on next Tuesday. And yeah, looking forward to moving this forward.
Okay, we'll now adjourn to executive session. This is executive sessions held pursuant to ORS 192.6602F, which allows a governing body to meet in executive session to consider information or records that are exempt by law from public inspection. Representatives of the news media and designated staff shall be allowed to attend executive session. All other members of the audience are asked to leave the room. Representatives of the news media are specifically directed not to report on any of the deliberations during executive session, except to state the general subject of the session as previously announced. No decision may be made in executive session. At the end of the executive session, we will reconvene the board work session. So we'll let session return to public.
Kevin?
We have no other items from staff and no public online.
Meeting next week at 4 again?
Yep.
Okay, so
Well,
I will be zooming from Texas.
okay,
Are you gonna wanna run the meeting from there?
Patty can from here.
Okay.
That's fine with me.
sure.
I mean, that's,
Yeah,
Be 6 o'clock your
I
time.
could from there, but I think it's better to have somebody.
it's difficult.
Sure.
You're zooming, running the meeting, so
We'll have,
I'm happy to do that.
WHA will be here, we'll have a few other items, but then, yeah, this will.
Oh, we're doing the boring trilogy, now we're doing insurance. Ah, that's even worse.
It's too bad doing it grown up, I agree. I don't like doing it.
Legal and now.
Okay.
Is it gonna be Christmas? Actually, more.
I gotta drive to Portland, so I get home.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well,
Have a good time.
Kurt.
All right,
Any other order of business?
we're gone, bye bye.
thank you.
Travel.
Yeah.
Created like Kevin.
Oh, I know.